Hi, my name is Lyle Murphy, the founder of the Alternative to Med Center, and today we're going to be talking about Zoloft. What is Zoloft? Zoloft is an SSRI. It's also known as Sertraline. Number two, what is Zoloft used for? Well, Zoloft is used for quite a variety of things. Primarily, they call it an antidepressant. There's different types of antidepressants. SSRIs are significantly different than SNRIs. SNRIs are more what you would think of when you think of a mood elevator, and mood elevator and antidepressant are sort of synonyms. Zoloft is not exactly a mood elevator. It's more of a it's meant to give you more help with sleep. It's meant to give you a sort of a calming of anxiety. And some people use it for fibromyalgia. It's even used to assist with premature ejaculation. It's got quite a panoply of things it's used for. But yeah, it's used for people who typically come in and they're like, "Doc, I want to kill myself. I can't. I have these impulsive thoughts and suicidal ideation or even homicidal ideation." This is the type of drug that is given for that. And of course, much lesser things like, I just don't feel like my life is working so well, or I'm unable to sort of quell my mind and get to sleep. Yeah. Question number 3. Zoloft stimulates me. Is that normal? Well, for a while it was considered to be unusual, but now they found out that Zoloft actually does have a dopaminergic effect. So if you're looking for pure sedation or pure calming of impulsivity, maybe you want to talk to your prescriber about Zoloft being switched out, because Zoloft can actually be quite stimulatory, and it can be particularly upsetting for people who have had manic symptoms that are using Zoloft in conjunction with an antipsychotic, because if something's driving dopamine, it's actually doing the opposite of what an antipsychotic would do and could be making psychotic or manic or bipolar symptoms even worse. So it is normal now with the new sort of research that's come out about Zoloft. Next question. What does Zoloft withdrawal look like? Well, for those people who are watching this video, you probably already know what Zoloft withdrawal looks like. People don't usually come to this website unless they've been smashed already by trying to come off of a medication. But in this particular instance with Zoloft, you're looking at 3 primary things. I mean, there are a wide range of symptoms that people can have withdrawing from this, but primarily it's going to be an interruption in their sleep. Their insomnia is going to worsen. They may have an uptick in their anxiety, and also obsessive compulsive ruminations. So the idea with that is to notice those things, and also to be aware that is common features. And other withdrawal symptoms that you would want to know about are on the website under Zoloft Withdrawal for the Alternative to Meds. There is quite a laundry list of withdrawal symptoms that go with this medication. But the big 3 are going to be the insomnia, the OCD, and the uptick in anxiety. Question number 5. What can make Zoloft withdrawal easier? Well, there is actually better ways to make this withdrawal work. One of them is to do a slow and steady withdrawal that you can actually find a way to fit into your life. So if you're raising children and you have a demanding job, that would be a lot different pace that you would want to undertake this medication withdrawal than if you could go to a retreat somewhere and do breath work and eat organic food, or come to a place like ours where you have the space and you have other people that are supporting you. That could determine the rate at which you could go through withdrawal. Getting to a place where this is not going to, because when people are going through an antidepressant or any really psychiatric medication withdrawal, there's a shift that's happening. And that shift can be very disconcerting to both you and your family. and could be very unusual, and it could be confused with who you are. And there's it's kind of like having a alcohol withdrawal and having the headache and the being anxious and being mad at people considered to be your diagnosis and who you are. Really, there's withdrawal manifestations from this drug that are going to potentially be quite absurd, and you want to maybe spare your family from that and yourself if you can by either going slow or getting yourself into a safer space. There are some other alternatives that we go into. I think that looks like the next question. Question number 6. What are Zoloft alternatives? So these are the things that could make the withdrawal easier. So the direct precursor for serotonin is tryptophan. Tryptophan is a naturally occurring amino acid found in bananas, found in avocados, found in poultry, especially in turkey. That sort of tranquilizing buzz that's been associated with turkey is because of the tryptophan, and serotonin, that is the next thing upline from tryptophan, will then create melatonin, which is your sleep neurohormone. So tryptophan is the most likely the Zoloft alternative, but we don't always know if the depression or anxiety or the sleeplessness is actually being caused by a serotonin deficiency. So if you're looking for building up serotonin specifically, tryptophan is the way to do that. We do not advise that a person uses tryptophan and Zoloft for a long period of time. We use it here during the withdrawal process because you're taking away one and implementing the other. But there is a possibility that you get too much serotonin, and that is called serotonin syndrome. And honestly, that can be fatal. I mean, it's rare. I mean, I don't know exactly the number of people who have died from serotonin syndrome. It is extraordinarily, I've only heard of it in the research and in the literature, never have seen it in 15 years, but it's certainly not something I would want to play around with. So when you're taking away one, the Zoloft, you go into a serotonin plunge, and then building it up with tryptophan is the natural, you take away one and you build the other one. It's a natural trade-off. But to do both of them long-term could have consequences that we have never seen, and I don't want anyone out there to see it. So if you are going to use tryptophan, use it in conjunction with a practitioner that has made that recommendation to you directly and will be following to make sure that you don't have signs or symptoms of getting too much serotonin. Other Zoloft alternatives are, supplement-wise, 5-HTP. 5-HTP also has the same considerations as tryptophan. It's an analog of tryptophan. Using theanine, using taurine, using passion flower, using calming herbs like valerian root, ashwagandha. These are things that would be worth investigating. But rather than sort of play around with them ad hoc, I would recommend truly that you get a naturopath or that you get an integrative doctor that has a lot of time in the saddle working with people who are on medications and also getting naturopathic or holistic care, because there's a difference between people who are not being medicated oftentimes than there are people who are. So it's a subsect of population that a practitioner needs to be attuned to, because there are definite differences in these populations. Other things for Zoloft alternatives, one would be cleaning up any toxic impairments. One of the big bullies for blocking serotonin synthesis seems to be mercury. So based upon genetic variances and consumption of fish or from having mercury fillings can make a mercury burden, a toxic body burden, that could be impairing serotonin synthesis. These people are usually hallmarked by they have constant anxiety, constant inability to sleep, and constant fight or flight type ruminations. In other words, they don't come and go. They're with them all the time. That person is more likely to have neurotoxic poisoning and needs to get evaluated by an environmental medicine specialist. Pesticides can also be a problem for this particular pathway. So if you're having constant, unrelenting symptoms that that even maybe you're not being relieved by the Zoloft that much, you might want to look into an environmental medicine specialist. You're also welcome to contact the Alternative to Med Center and develop a doctor-patient relationship with us, which we can only make recommendations based upon having that relationship. We do not recommend that you take anything that we've said on this video or that we've mentioned as far as alternatives and do them at home, because we don't have that relationship with you to make those sort of recommendations. That you, at a minimum, form a doctor-patient relationship with someone that can guide you and use this information to present to that practitioner for their evaluation and inclusion into your treatment. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day or evening.